This is The Warning.
It has been 1 month since Donald Trump raised his hand and promised to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. After receiving the customary honors and salutes, he gave his inaugural address where he asserted he was saved by God to usher in the golden age.
Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again.
There is no words that have ever been spoken in a presidential inaugural more chilling than those. He then appointed as his White House faith advisor this religious extremist, Pastor Paula.
The Lord says, it is done, for I hear victory, 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 victory in the corridors of heaven. In the corridors of heaven, victory, 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 victory. For angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka teda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rike didi ashata. For angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now.
Over the last month, Trump has assembled the most unfit cabinet in American history. It is an astonishment of vice. The characters are a collection of insanity, imbecility, conspiracy theorists, accused and alleged drunks, rapists, and the list goes on. There is Ice Barbie posing across the American landscape, doing interviews in various costumes. There is the Secretary of Defense. The Secretary of Defense was a disaster on the world stage. There is the Vice President. The Vice President meltdown in transatlantic relations. The panic and chaos from Berlin. This is the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. She was in a cult and is more unfit maybe any other member of this unfit cabinet. There's the conspiracy theorist Robert F. Kennedy, now in charge of the public health departments, who's against vaccines. Let's take a trip down memory lane from the confirmation hearing. Because there is an FBI director named Kash Patel with an enemies list, there will be abuses. But for sure, the first thing that we know about the first month of the Trump presidency is that the U.S. Senate has abandoned completely as an institution the role that it was envisioned for by founding fathers. It has become Trump's Politburo. It has forfeited its independence, and by confirming this team of Trump imbeciles, it has endangered the nation. Trump has sown chaos in the world. He has stabbed Ukraine in the back by blaming the victim of aggression for being the aggressor. It is sick. It is like blaming Poland for Nazi Germany invading. And that it is being done by a president of the United States makes it sicker still. There is no excuse and there are no words. It is immoral, as are Donald Trump's threats against Canada. Annex it. Donald Trump, the president of the United States, talks about our friendly neighbor, a country that we share the longest peaceful, undefended border in world history with, like Putin does Ukraine, as if it has no right to exist. Donald Trump, by the end of the first month, sat down in Riyadh with Russians to negotiate the future of Ukraine. He sent his errand boy, Marco Rubio, and there he sat across from the Russian bear getting eaten alive. The United States was carving up Ukraine with Russia without Ukraine in the room, without any European power in the room.
Today I heard, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. I could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them almost all of the land, everything, almost all of the land, and no people would have been killed, and no city would have been demolished, and not one dome would have been knocked down.
That happened in the first month. Trump lied, he incited, he divided. When there was a plane crash without any facts or evidence, he said it was DEI. The callousness, the capriciousness, all of it is just getting started. He took down the portrait of Mark Milley from the Pentagon that hung on the wall of former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in an act of supreme pettiness before canceling his security. His security is necessary because General Milley is under assassination threat from the Islamic Republic of Iran. This is a deadly business, and Donald Trump knows exactly what he's doing. We have seen this first month an utter passivity from the Democratic leadership in the Congress. Chuck Schumer's strategy is to lay on the tracks and to shout and chant, "We're winning." There is no opposition that has come together in Washington from the political leadership of the Democratic Party. But the lawsuits, they're succeeding. There are protests that are breaking out. At the end of the first month, the table is set. Donald Trump has asserted fundamentally un-American propositions during the last 72 hours. Donald Trump said that he would lower prices on day one, and on day 30, prices are higher than they were on day one. Have you seen the cost of eggs? It's on Trump's watch. Yet, there is no response. There is no fighting back. Just silence, for now, from the Democrats. During the weeks and the months ahead, there will be a lot of testing and a lot of chaos. And we can look back to this first month and understand that Donald Trump, he has assembled his team, he has asserted power, he has made himself again the dominant player on the world stage. Heading into February, poll numbers are coming down. Heading into February, the economy is blinking red and prices are going up. Donald Trump looks strong because Donald Trump is playing a character in a scripted series that rolls out every day by his written hand, by his design. He's calling the shots, and the media plays along. And so at the end of the first month, the last thing might be the most important one. And it's the assault on the spirit of the First Amendment and on the media and on the idea that dissent is somehow suddenly intolerable and an affront and to be retaliated against. All of these things are unacceptable in the United States. But more than anything else is the idea that Donald Trump has made billionaires and CEOs afraid enough of him that in a country with the First Amendment, newsrooms all over it are chilled. There is chaos around the world. There's chaos in Washington, and the American media is chilled. The Democratic Party is flat on its back, but the courts of law are working. And that's the state of things 1 month in. There's a long way to go. Remember, President Obama said something lately that was deeply true. There are no permanent victories or defeats in American life. This is The Warning.
I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning, and I invite you to subscribe on our Substack, on our YouTube channel. Follow us. Welcome to the community.